Smile, remember.
Go.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Bonkers.ie TV, where we're all about smarter money and bringing you all the news from the world of personal finance and consumer affairs. So last week you might have noticed there were some changes to the current account fees brought in by Ulster Bank. So this week we are going to focus all about how to save money on your current account fees. And first of all, Dara, you want to start off by talking about ATMs.
Yeah, so one of the easiest ways that people can reduce the amount of fees that they pay is by trying to avoid the amount that they take out in cash every single month. So that would be really tip number one. And this is because all of their banks charge usually the highest fees for taking out cash. So if you take out cash with AIB, for example, you'll be charged 35 cents for every withdrawal. And if you take out cash with Bank of Ireland, you'll be charged 25 cents. However, if you were to pay by, let's say, contactless, for example, with AIB, it's free, and if you were to pay by contactless with Bank of Ireland, it's only 1 cent. So basically, if you're taking out cash, try not to do it too many times, as it's a really, really easy way to rack up fees quite quickly.
Yeah, I didn't realise that contactless. I always just used it because it was easy. I didn't realise it was much cheaper as well.
Yeah, it is. So like I said, with most of the banks, it's either free for now or it only costs 1 cent. So even, using contactless instead of even using chip and pin can actually save you some money as well. Now, how long contactless stays free for is anyone's guess, and one would suspect that the banks are making it free to encourage people to use kind of tap and pay as much as possible. But at least for now, contactless is free or very, very cheap with most of the banks.
Yeah, I think one cent with Bank of Ireland.
Yeah, 1 cent with Bank of Ireland, 1 cent with Ulster Bank. Obviously, they've just changed their fees, and free with Permanent TSB and also AIB and also N26.
Okay. And another thing that I try to do as much as possible, because it's easy rather than anything else that can save you money, is online banking.
Yeah, so I mean, again, this is another great way that people can save fees. So the reason why we go with online banking as opposed to maybe in-branch banking is, again, the huge difference in fees. So if you go to AIB and ask, go into the branch and you want, I suppose, a branch-assisted transaction, it's going to cost you 39 cents. So if you want to maybe transfer money to another bank account or indeed lodge money, and you go into the branch and get them to do it, it's 39 cents. With Bank of Ireland, it's 60 cents, and with Ulster Bank, it's a whopping 80 cents. However, if you were to do all of those transactions online, it would be way less. So with AIB, it would only cost you 20 cents, and with Bank of Ireland, it would only cost you 10 cents. So basically, if you can, do it by yourself. Sometimes, you need to go into the branch, you might need to talk to someone, but for things like lodging money, for things like making transfers to someone else, it's pretty quick to just do it yourself online.
Yeah, no, another one that I have avoided doing because I frankly I have no need for one. It'd be using cheques.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, cheques are a pretty outdated mode of payment, I think, particularly for the younger generation.
Yeah.
But you'd still be quite surprised at how many people use cheques. Again, it's a slow form of payment. They take days to clear. They're expensive. You're charged stamp duty on the cheques as well. So if you can either get a bank draft or if you need to pay someone money, just do it online through internet banking instead.
Yeah, so there's a lot of companies like N26 and Revolut that are coming along to try and disrupt this market.
Yep.
What's the story there?
Yeah, so I mean, when you're looking at maybe reducing your fees, or maybe you're looking at wanting to switch, obviously there's the big 4 or 5 main banks that we're used to, but there is also new fintech companies like N26 and Revolut. Now, for all intents and purposes, N26 is now a fully fledged bank. They're licensed here under Conduct of Business rules. It's a German bank, but when you take out an account with N26, you'll get an IBAN number, you'll get an IBEC number. You can do all your day-to-day banking with them, and they have some really, really good fees. So it's free for all of your day-to-day transactions. So there's no charge for contactless, no charge for chip and pin, and you'll get 5 free ATM withdrawals a month. So N26 is a really, really good option for those who are maybe tired of paying current account fees and want a more competitive bank.
Yeah, I think the flexibility will really appeal to people like from my generation as well.
Yeah, like I said, you can do it online. You can open up a new account with N26 in minutes through their mobile app. You just take a selfie for proof of, I suppose, identity. You take a picture of your...
That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's all it takes. You take a copy of your passport, and then you have your card sent out within about two or 3 days. So it's such a change. I mean, only like 4 or 5 years ago, if you wanted to open up a bank account, you'd need to get an appointment, and it could take maybe days. days, whereas now with companies like N26 and Revolut, you can do it within minutes. It's great.
Yeah, no, this is something that I had no idea about, but exemptions when it comes to fees and charges?
Yeah, so all of the banks, so like obviously things like using your not taking out too much cash, doing contactless, things like that can reduce the fees that you're charged. But with a lot of the banks, they still have rules in place. That means that you won't be charged a lot of the fees if you meet the rules. Now the rules though are pretty onerous in some cases, but it's always a good thing to know what those rules are. So for example, with AIB, if you're an AIB customer, if you keep $2.5 grand in your account at all times, you'll be charged no day-to-day fees. Now I don't know, I don't have $2.5 grand to keep in my account. Some people do. With Bank of Ireland, if you keep 3 grand in your account at all time, you won't be charged the day-to-day fees, although you will be charged the monthly account maintenance fee. With KBC, for one of their accounts, it's a little bit similar. If you keep 2.5 grand, if you lodge 2.5 grand, you won't be charged fees. And with KBC, you don't have to keep the 2.5 grand there. You can't take it out, but you do have to make a lodgement each month. So that's like if you're getting paid 2.5 grand, would probably be about earning 40 grand. So my advice is no, if you're a customer with Ulster Bank, Bank of Ireland, or AIB, find out what the exemptions are, and if you can, try and meet those exemptions and avoid as much of the fees as possible.
Yeah, no, another thing that you mentioned in your article, which will be published later after this if you want to check out the text format, if our voices do your head in, of course. One of the things that you mentioned was about treating your current account like a savings account.
Yeah, so it's a little
How do you do that?
Yeah, so it's kind of on the point that we just made. So like I said, a lot of the banks, if you leave maybe 2.5 or 3,000 euro in the account, you won't be charged fees. And like I said, a lot of people don't have that much money to leave on hold. So what you can do is you could take maybe 3 grand from your savings account, leave it in your current account. It obviously won't earn any interest, but it does mean that you'd avoid the fees. So in a way, you're kind of saving something or earning something. And at the moment, with interest rates on savings accounts so low, your money in your savings account is probably earning you very, very little anyway. So by transferring some of that over to your current account, you could save 10, 11, 12 euros worth of fees every month.
Okay, and what exactly are referral fees? Because
Yes.
your next point is to avoid them.
Yeah, it's a referral fee. So a referral fee is, it's a banking term, and it is a fee that you're charged if a bank tries to take money from your account and there isn't enough money in the account and then the payment fails.
Okay.
So let's say you have 100 euro in your account and the electricity bill is due to come in and the electricity bill is 150 euro. Sometimes the bank might be good, they might let the payment still go through and you'll be in deficit. But often in that situation, the bank or the energy companies, maybe Broadband or Energy or whoever it is, will come looking for payment. They'll see that there isn't enough money in your account for the direct debit to process, and the direct debit will bounce, and you'll be charged €12.70 in some cases for us, which is a huge amount of money. So all of the banks charge referral fees, even if you meet their day-to-day free banking requirements, they'll all charge you a referral fee. So I guess the advice is, try avoid them by making sure you have enough money in your account at all times. And obviously referral fees as well are really, really bad for your credit rating. If you're looking to get a mortgage or a loan, a bank will look back to see if you have had any referral fees over the past maybe 6 months. So that's another reason why you should avoid them.
Yeah, this actually happened to me last month. I paid my rent early through my housemate.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't actually get somebody, I couldn't upload the payee onto my online banking. So I think they sent me out a letter saying that the rent was due to come out in a direct debit, and they said that after 2 more failed payments, if this were to happen twice more, they would cancel.
Yeah, it would cancel it. And like I said, both those times you were probably charged maybe €10 or €12.70. So it's a lot of money. And like I said, you made a good point there. Often the bank will they'll come back maybe a second or a third time, so the direct debit will stay open. But then if they still can't get the money, the direct debit then cancels, and you need to set it back all over again, up all over again, which is a bit of a hassle. So yeah, so referral fees, are pretty big. They can really see your current account fees shoot up if you're charged them. So yeah, avoid them at all costs.
So I didn't know what referral fees were, but I just found out that I have been charged for them.
Yeah.
And then our last point of point of information is, of course, making the switch.
Yeah, so listen, I mean, a lot of people have been complaining lately about Ulster Bank in particular changing their fee structure. And over the past 6 or 7 years, we've seen practically all the banks, particularly AIB and Bank of Ireland, so the big banks, introduce fees. And people complain, people give out, and they realise, or they don't seem to realise, is that you can switch. So, you know, we've discussed ways that you can reduce your fees, but if you want to avoid them altogether, there are good options out there. So make the switch and go on to Bonkers.ie, see the options that are out there and get started. Like I said, there's never been more choice. Revolut and N26 are really good alternatives. Permanent TSB is a good alternative as well. They've free day-to-day banking for just €4 a month.
KBC have a great online portfolio.
Yeah, and KBC have a good options as well. So, you know, what I suppose the bank that suits you will depend on your own personal circumstances. So, yeah, so, you know, switching saves, and switching your current account is no different.
And as we found out last week, switching your current account doesn't affect your chances of getting a mortgage. So
no, it's absolutely fine. Like if you're looking for a mortgage, let's say with AIB, and you've never even set foot in an AIB branch, or you've never had any type of current account with AIB, they don't care. You know what I mean? They'll still be happy to give you the mortgage, providing you meet their other criteria. And I think that's a lot of the fear that people have about switching to banks like maybe Revolut or N26. They think, oh well, what happens if in a few months or in a few years I need to go to Permanent TSB or Bank of Ireland for a mortgage? Will I still get one? You will, as long as obviously you meet their other.
It is a product at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's just a product. Yeah.
So if you want to check that out, you make sure to hop over to our blog. Another thing that we're actually doing over the last couple of days is we are focusing on some money mistakes that are common to people in each decade of their life. So if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s, make sure to hop over to our blog either today or in the coming days to check out some of the articles that we have there for you. That's it from all of us here at Bonkers.ie for this week, and we hope you join us again next week. Thank you.